everybody, and welcome to Evergreen Creek. In my opinion, what will be the track of the year. And as per tradition, of course, I have to have a bad start. I've got a majority of the class in front of me, but not everybody. Here we go. And there's David there on the left. He's the current points leader. He's wearing a little bit of the green, and then Simpson there in the is it teal? I don't know. I call it blue because I'm a guy, and according to me, there are only 6 colors in general. So, here we go. Alright, getting around people, working my way up through the pack, and this start was a lot better than last year. Not last year, 2 years ago rather. The start was just in a much better position, a lot more room. I know last year we didn't have this plot of land here available, but it made a big difference and the start was a whole lot better. The cool thing about this track, and the reason I think it should get track of the year, is because it had some of everything. They had some hill climbs in here, we had loose sandy conditions, we had some rocks, we had roots, we had dark soil. It was just a little bit of everything. Oh, there we go, and there's David laying down there. He looks like he wiped out pretty good, but he does get by me later in the race, so he was okay. And at this point, I don't know if I had explained, perhaps you haven't watched my last video. Well, my last video at Polka Dots, I was having a lot of trouble. I had sprained my left wrist at Valley Trail Riders, and that was causing me some pain and discomfort and what all, but it wasn't enough. It was going to stop me from racing. I'm going to go out and I'm going to race. But then also before Polka Dots, I noticed something, I'm going to call it jinky, in my linkage. That just sounds fun to say. I had something jinky in my linkage, alright? I was bouncing on the seat before the race because I'm excited and I'm, bouncing around, getting ready, getting pumped. And I feel a real hard spot clink after like an inch and a half of the suspension compressing, clink. And I was like, oh no, like that's not good. I'm gonna have to check that out. So make a mental note, check that out. Ooh, we gotta get past people in the sand here. And there's a little goober on the screen. Nothing I can do about it. Whatever, we're gonna keep watching. So anyway, the linkage was acting up, and when I got out into the logged off area of Polka Dots, oh my gosh, everybody else walked away from me. Once it got rough, they just walked away from me. So, I don't know. So I get home, and I start ripping the linkage apart and looking at it, and going to replace the bearings. I press the bearings out and everything. They won't even press out. They're so just caked full of rust that the bushing inside of them wouldn't spin. So the only linkage play I had at all is what it was twisting on the bolts, which I think all of the bolts were over tightened as well, so I didn't have a whole lot of play there. When all was said and done, the linkage was in absolute horrible shape. So I got that rebuilt for this race. And right here at the beginning, I'm still kind of feeling out the way the suspension's feeling. It feels a lot better. It feels just buttery smooth. But even so, this is the first time I've rode it since I did all the work on it. So I'm not sure how hard I can push it or what exactly I should be doing. I kind of got to get a feel for it, So here we go, we're going out onto the road, crossing the bridge, and heading on down into the fun stuff. I call it the fun stuff because it's what I like. I like down here where the dirt is moist and delicious. That's why I'm up on these guys, is because I love the taste of the roost, obviously. And just this type of riding right here, where, I mean, once in a while you're going to be banging your bark busters a little bit, weaving back and forth, and it's thick, and just, oh, here we go, right through this area. This is a prime example of what I like, because there's little uphills, little downhills. Ooh, got to get past these guys. Here we go. Didn't manage that one too bad, all right? Crisis averted. So I believe I am right behind Dan. Damn, he's Dan Simpson. And who's right in front of him? It is Tyson Fouth, my brother-in-law. Or kind of like a whatever. I've explained this before. No need to go into it now. Now, one thing about Dan here in front of me is he's not afraid of that throttle. I've noticed that quite a few times. I've been behind him in quite a few of these races. I've been directly behind him, and he's not afraid to crank her on and let that back wheel bite and just go. Now, I'm not positive, but I've got a good idea that that's a 450 he's riding, that KTM. And Tyson in front of him is on a CR250. What year is that? I think it's a 96? Not sure. I'm not real familiar with the Hondas. But this trail here, I'm loving this. Man, look, you got to slow down because of your bark buster. Oh, little log crossing. I like that. It's cool when riders make the trail. Oh, there Tyson goes down. And I'm not sure if this is... I don't know. He didn't end up finishing the first lap. He ended up pulling off and got a DNF and everything, and it's kind of a shame because of how great this track was, but he ended up, he broke his brake lever, and then when the bike went down, he bent, I think, both of his bark busters, and then he also bent his shifter over, like, up and underneath the case, so he was stuck in second gear. There really wasn't a whole lot he could do, so he just ended up pulling off. I mean, with no brakes and only in second gear, there's only so much you can do. So here I'm following Simpson, and again, he's not afraid to cork her on. He's definitely not afraid to use all of the power he has available to him. You know what? I'm not either. Here we go. I'm just glad I didn't end up in this corn. But yeah, one cool thing about Evergreen Creek is it's a track that's designed by a rider. You know, it's this guy's own personal residence, and I just get the feeling from him. He knows exactly what to put into the race that we're all just going to love. And sure enough, like this is a riot. I mean, there's straightaways. There's stuff so tight you have to slow down and barely work your handlebars through. And then there's stuff like this that's just wide open. Slam that throttle, pin it, and let's go. Now this section right here, okay, we head back into the woods. This section right here for me was the hardest section. And the reason for that being, there's roots and stuff here that are just on angles, and I don't know. There's crazy stuff, and I'm comfortable with my bike drifting around in the dirt, but I'm not comfortable with it skating around on roots, and that feeling of just like, I don't know, I feel like I don't have control, like the bike could slide out on me. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened to Dan. Whoa, and then I almost hit him. So I get around him, and now I'm out in front, which means I made a mistake, and I go flying off the trail, but I'm only gonna let two guys by. Not gonna let Dan get back ahead of me. So get back out on the track here, and this guy right in front of me right now, I don't know what he's doing, but he he decides that I should be in front of him, so he lets me by. So here we are again. We're trying to work our way up. And I hit a tree and get all off. I'm in the bush. And I'm trying to get back on, and now Simpson's ahead of me again. I have to check to make sure my camera's still there. I remember this section right here from last time. Yep, definitely remember that. There were a few sections that I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. One of them was this log that my brother-in-law got all hung up on and caused just like this calamity of a backup behind him. Here's those roots. You can see those roots exposed that I was talking about. And let's get this out of the way, okay? We might as well before I forget. If you did not make it to this race, you missed out, because this is an amazing race. If it comes up again in 2 years, if he's still willing to let us come out and ride this, do not miss this race. What's cool is this look. I mean, it's like you're up north. I mean, this is like you're like way up near the top of the lower peninsula. The way the woods are all set up, and it's strange because this is over by Vassar, and most of the time when I think about that area, I think about, you know, like farming communities and just rows and rows of cornfields and soybean fields and even sugar beets. There's a good amount of sugar beets out there. But this is just like, I don't know, it's like this oasis, like you're up north. This awesome oasis of like dirt biking awesomeness. Ooh, I'm catching up. Right behind Dan again. And I'm recording this. I just got home. It's like 7 o'clock, and this is directly after the race. And I'm still picking dirt out of my eyes and out of my ears and my mustache. I've got a bunch of dirt caked in there. I haven't even showered yet, so you guys need to appreciate me getting this video out so quickly, because I'm working tomorrow, I'm working over, and I know I'm not going to be able to get this video out for a little while. So I'm working 2 jobs now, alright? I'm working my normal job, and then I'm teaching night classes at a college to try to save up and get myself a new bike next year. But I don't know, as good as the bike felt today, I might not really have a reason to go and buy a new bike next year. I'm just kidding, I'm buying a new bike, I don't care. So, okay, if you're watching this video and you happen to work for a dealership or own a dealership or anything like that, we might as well get this out there. If you're willing to make a deal for me, we can work something out, you know. I could throw your logo or whatever, give you guys a plug on the front of my videos. You want to give me a little bit of discount, just let's get that out there. I'll work with you if you work with me, you know. Advertising revenue. Here we go. Through this part. This was a fun part. It was a little sketchy. I was a little scared sometimes through this area, just because you catch a rut and you get a bad bounce or something, you could end up over here in the weeds, or even further, you could end up over there in the creek. That wouldn't be too great. Check this out. Check this hotline out right here. Okay, they go to the left. He's like stalled out or something. He can't get up the hill. So here we go. I'm in front of Simpson again. Took the little shortcut. I've got a rule. I don't wait for stalled out people. If people stall out or whatever in front of me, I'm going to try to find a shorter way around. I'm not going to cut a bunch off the track. But I'm gonna drive off the track a little bit and see if I can't find my way around. Now last year that bridge I think was a two-way bridge. They had like hay bales set up down the middle. This year it was just one way, and I'm trying to find a way around this guy here now because I'm thinking, okay, I've got a pretty good idea now. I've got a good idea for how my suspension is acting and for how fast I feel like I can push myself. So I think if I can get ahead of him, I can get into my groove, and I'm not sure which place I'm in right now, but I'm suspecting I'm somewhere in the top 4 right now. So I think if I can get ahead of him, I can start leaving some of these other guys behind, and this race is going to turn out real nice. Because like I said, that suspension's feeling buttery smooth, and I'm just feeling good. And there's other guys that are as fast as me and that are faster than me in this class. But if I feel like if I could put some separation between me and them, and maybe put some slower people in between that they have to work to get past, I've got a real shot at having a pretty good finish. Oh, here we go. He let me by. Hopefully he doesn't let anybody else by. Okay guys, if you look and you see it's me, feel free to pull right back over onto the track immediately and cause congestion for all the rest of the riders. I would appreciate that. So here we go. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I've caught my groove now. The suspension feels pretty good, the best it's ever felt to me, and I'm making decent time. I remember this part last year. There was a log up here that we had to cross, so I was looking for it. I didn't want to be surprised by it, but he had some dirt pushed up to it, so that's pretty good. Took this corner a little wider than I thought I was going to, but give a little glance back and I looked. And the guy that just let me by is the only one I saw behind me on that corner. And this is where I almost died, right here. I come up on this corner fast. I didn't know that these logs were coming, and it was like being on ice. You can hear me as I hit, and that's where I died. They brought the paramedics, but it was no good. They couldn't revive me. That hurt. And here it's so irritating because I felt like I was just starting to walk away from everybody else, that I was just starting to get my groove. There's David right there. He's alive. That's good. And now I'm stuck. I got no traction, and the bike will not get going. And the visor's kind of down. It's down further than I wanted it to be. I didn't notice it at the time. I need to do something to rig that visor up so that it doesn't go down. And the camera, this is the irritating part too, okay? When I hit, maybe the visor's not down. I don't think the visor is down. I think what's actually going on, oh, there's one of the Illig brothers got by me there, racing for the win in the K class, I believe. Oh, and here's some highlights of us jumping. Got to get this one little double in here. Yeah, cleared it, no problem. But the camera got pushed up, or the visor got pushed down, one of the two. I don't know. I've got to do something to fix that so it doesn't happen again, because I don't like it. It irritates me. This section was also a very fun section. I'm going kind of slow through it right now, but I got a lot faster as the day progressed on through this. So here's Simpson again. I'm catching him in the pines, chasing him down. I caught my shoulder on one of these pines. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it during this section, but it gave me a decent little scrape. Yeah, right there. Ah! You're close to the front. Go, Booster, go! Yes, I am. Let's do this. 2 hours on the right. I go through, I'm in 9th place. But even though I'm in 9th place, I'm still pretty close to the front. So here we go, I look up ahead of me, and there is Alan. You guys might remember him from Plymouth Blackhawks. I chased him around. Well, I chased him around this whole race too. Every single lap, it seems like I would go through this section, and there's Simpson in front of him, so there's 2 positions right there. So that'd be able to make my way up to 7th if I can catch these guys. But every single lap during this section right here, I would see him. That's all the further he was ahead of me, was like 15 seconds or so. Not even 15 seconds, I'd say more like 5 or 6. And 5 or 6 is actually a decent little amount in the woods. It's hard for you to see 5 or 6 seconds ahead of you to know where they are. Hello, Miss Photographer. And I don't know, it's just really cool. I love that in the class that I'm in, a lot of us are so close in skill. A lot of us are so close in ability to where we can actually race against each other. And I can look ahead and see him, you know, we might pass each other a couple times during the race, which we didn't. I don't think I got up past him. I was just behind him. He probably didn't even know I was right there. But I was. So here we go. There he is again. He's like a few seconds ahead of me. And we're going out onto the motocross track here. Come around this corner, and I look up ahead, and I'm like, I'm gonna go slow on the track. It's a tabletop, and I was like, well, shoot, if these are tabletops out here, I'm gonna jump them. So here we go. I'm just gonna send it.
You guys silly? I'm still gonna send it.
I cased it, and I smacked my face and my chin, and I had to shake the cobwebs out. And from here on out, the rest of the race, the footage is entirely ruined because the camera just was not in the right spot. Whatever. It is what it is. I got a good portion of the track for you guys to watch. And I actually ended up finishing up the race in 8th place, but it was a great race. I was chasing guys around. My times were good. I felt good. After the past 3 races where I have done not well at all. I think I pulled off twice with a white flag, and then I got one did not finish. It's good to be able to get back into the top 10, and it's even better to go home with a trophy at my favorite track. So to Jeremy, thank you very much for having us out to your place. It was a great race. Thank you for all the work you put in. And to everybody who missed it, better luck next time. This is not one you want to miss. Anyway, guys, I will see you at the next race. This is Booster, and I'll catch you guys next time.